should do research on the talking heads that you're considering listening to. Uh, I think that probably the least important reason why folks should listen to me is that I've been in the chair. Uh, my background is that I've been at the executive level for 7 different companies in 5 industries, which means one of two things. Either I can't keep a job or I have transferable skills. And every single one of you and every single one of your clients has transferable skills too. And anybody if you're around anybody negative, you need to get away from them, because job search is the worst job you'll ever have. And you have to be around positivity, and you can't afford to be around anybody negative. And I say that because when I was in job search last, I was the most negative that ever walked the face of the earth. So bad that my wife should have kicked me out of the house. And I'm not joking at all there. Um, so I've won more awards than I have fingers and toes for it, and I was out of a job for over 2 years. And I was drugged by my next door neighbor, kind of kicking and screaming, to a job networking event here in the Atlanta area. Roswell United Methodist Church is one of the largest, if not the largest, job networking venue in the country. And I didn't want to go to one of these things because, in my mind, the only people who went to job networking events were, low life, unemployed gutter scum. Wait, Al, what were you at the time? Never mind. Let's not go there. So I'm in this venue and I'm looking around, and I didn't see low life gutter scum. I saw people that looked like you and people that looked like me, and just a great cross section of America. And I said to my neighbor, Paul, there's enough good talent in this room to fill every job in a decent sized company. And I was so amazed by what I was seeing that the next morning I went to the RUMC website and somehow stumbled onto their prayer request page. And I don't read people's prayer requests. I don't go in my wife's purse. I'm a very private person. But I read one guy's or 4 people's prayer request, and one guy changed my life forever. He said, I've lost my job. I'm virtually penniless. My wife has left me. My house is about to be foreclosed on, and I'm in total despair. And I knew what this guy was capable of doing to himself, because I'd not only contemplated, I'd picked the spot in the woods behind my house where I was going to blow my brains out. And I didn't want anybody to be in that position if I could do something about it. So I put away the nice, fat six-figure job that or salary that I had in the past, and I started helping people get jobs. And I've done this for 10 years. So I do a lot of volunteering under normal circumstances. I speak somewhere almost every Monday of the year. I've also been interviewed a lot over the years. Oh, I'm a genius. I have to tell you that I'm a genius. I can prove it too, because who other than a genius would go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota in the middle of November to give a speech? Genius, I tell you, I'm a genius. Okay, so everything I'm going to talk about is in my book, Hired, Every Employment Method. But we're only going to cover a small bit of it. This is what we're going to cover in yellow. There's tons more in the book. It's 300 pages. It's fairly easy to read. Here's what I hope to accomplish in the next 45 minutes or so. I want you to understand how job search is conducted in this world, why you need to be on LinkedIn page 1 if you want to get found by recruiters, how to get there. And then afterwards, we'll do a number of searches, but what I'll need is your job title, the industry, or something, a couple of keywords about what you do. And eventually I'll need your name as well, so we can make sure we find you. And then of course we'll have some Q&A. So let's get started. My guess is that you are a good employee, but for whatever reason, you lost your job. You got kicked to the curb. You got a pink slip. You were fired. You were downsized. I got right-sized once, and I wanted to right-size their lip. So what's your first step? Well, wait, don't tell me what your first step was. I'll tell you my first 3 steps. I went home and yelled at my wife. I kicked the dog, and I dove into a bottle of booze. Okay, well, that's not quite true. I don't have a dog. The others are true, unfortunately. But seriously, what do we all do? We update our resume. We find jobs that are perfect for us, click enter along with everybody else in the world that's looking for the exact same job as us. And then we sit and we wait. And we wait. And we wait for the phone to ring. So all joking aside, I'm sure we're on job boards. And of course, the job boards that I would never want anybody to be on are or pay for the ladders and six-figure jobs. I think they're both passé. But we're applying and applying and applying to the jobs that are posted, but that only accounts for 15 to 18% of the total, whereas 4/5 of the jobs out there are never posted anywhere, 82 to 85%. And this was the most amazing set of statistics that I came across when doing research for my book, because no matter what our age group is, we're spending over 90% of our time doing stuff online. And even more insidious is that we're spending in exact opposite proportion to where the jobs are. That's where we're spending our time. And that's where the greatest majority of people are spending their time too. So we're fighting two sets of battles at the same time. So I want you to do something else. I want you to get better results. So let's start off with how recruiters find candidates, how people like you. Thanks, Alex, for this slide. I love this slide. You want to get to the human's eyes. But in order to get to the human in today's world, you first have to get past the computer's eyes. If you don't get past the computer, if you don't satisfy what the computer is set up to look for, you never get to the human, unfortunately. Okay, so how do recruiters find people? Well, they can do this. They have an open title, a requisition, so they can start out typing in the title. Then they would add 3 to 5 keywords about that job. And in today's world, it would probably be 4 to 5 keywords instead of 3. And they want to get 25 people. That's it. There may be 1,000 people that apply for your job, but the recruiter is looking, talent acquisition person is looking for 25 people. Those get a phone call. From that 25 out of the first 1,000 or so, 10 people get some kind of face-to-face interview. From that 10, it gets down to 3, maybe at the outside 5 from the original 1,000, then one person gets hired. Gulp, that's a tough nut to swallow. 25 people, that's it, 25. So how do you position yourself? And we're going to focus on LinkedIn. I know what you're thinking, oh, geez, not another LinkedIn webinar. Well, unfortunately, most people's LinkedIn profiles are kind of like a certain part of the human anatomy. We all have one, and they mostly stink. So let's get how about we redo our LinkedIn profile so that it doesn't stink and people are attracted to it. Because 93% of recruiters use LinkedIn as their primary search tool. Question, you ever do the Google? I loved it when President Bush said, do the Google. I thought that was hilarious. Well, when you do the Google, how many pages of results do you look at? 1, 2, maybe 3? Well, guess what? It works the same thing in job search. What works for Google works for job search. So remember the recruiters are looking for 25 people. Well, they're 10 people per page on a LinkedIn search, the results. So if you're on page 1 or page 2, your profile will be read. Oh, and before I go further, there are 2 sets of statistics that LinkedIn gives us about your profile. One says that you appeared in a search, which means nothing. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. You want to have your profile viewed. It's the profile views that are important. So you want your profile viewed. If you're on page 1 or page 2 in that search, your profile is going to be viewed. If you're on page 3, you might get your profile viewed. And if you're beyond that, you have almost no chance at all. Gulp. All right, so what gets you there? Well, in a lot of cases, or the large part, is something called SEO, search engine optimization, which I want you to think of SEO like going fishing. If you're fishing for a fish or fishing for a job, you need to have something at the end of your line. In fishing, we call it bait. And in job search, that bait is keywords. So you need to be able to search on LinkedIn like a recruiter would so that you can reverse engineer your profile. So you need to know some search terms. The first thing is if there are 2 words or more, 2 or more words that have to follow in succession, they must be in quotation marks. The next term is capital A-N-D, this and that. Capital O-R, this or that. Nobody uses or, it makes your results too large. You could also use capital N-O-T, this but not that. Now you can use the plus sign, which means the same as and, or you could use the minus symbol, which means the same as not. But what I found is that the words work better on LinkedIn than the symbols do. So you also need to understand logic. So let's see how this works. If they're two or more words that have to follow in succession, you have to use them in quotation marks. What's in those quotation marks are the things that you're searching for must be lowercase. So let's do a search. So let's try this one. I'm looking for an accounting manager, open quote, accounting manager, end quote, capital A-N-D. This person needs to be a CPA. Capital A-N-D, general ledger, all in quotation marks. Capital A-N-D, this person needs to have GAAP experience. Capital A-N-D, I'm looking for somebody who's senior in their work, and then not entry level. So I'm trying to exclude everybody that's not. So I have the job title, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keywords about that job title. That's how a recruiter would search. So again, I want you to search like a recruiter. So I'm going to look for a vice president of marketing. Holy moly, I have 152,000. Wait a second. That's not how recruiters search. Oh yeah, they use a job title and 3 to 5 keywords. So let's try this again. I'm looking for a vice president of marketing. I'm pretending to be a recruiter. I'm looking for a vice president of marketing. I want that person to be in the food industry or have food industry experience, which is also the consumer products industry. So, and food and consumer and global. And I'm a really, really smart recruiter. So I want to parse out everybody who's not currently seeking a job. So I also added the word seeking. And when I did that in a global search, I was connected to 177 people that meet this criteria. And as you can tell, I've got people in Milwaukee, Boston, DC, Seattle, and the UK. So I can do other things. I can limit this to just the New York City, the greater New York City area. And when I did, I was connected. I found 21 people, recruiters looking for 25. That's pretty darn close to 20, 21, 25. But the thing that I thought it was amazing was the person who was page 1, position 1. His last name is Bright. I'm not making it up. It's true. So how about if we take out one word? I'll go back to Mr. Bright here. Whoops. Go back to Mr. Bright. So when I searched for this person, did this search, all these people would have their profile read. But how about we go to somebody who wouldn't have their profile read? So I took out the word seeking, and I just arbitrarily picked the person who is on page 10, position 1. And it's this guy, Marco. So Marco is a vice president of global marketing. He does live in the New York City area. But what do you see about this guy's profile immediately? Well, what I see first is that he has no about section. That's 2,600 characters with the second heaviest weight in the algorithm that he's not taking advantage of. Let's scroll down to his experience section. And I bet a lot of folks here in this workshop have a profile that looks a lot like this, where you just say what company you work for and what your title is. So this guy will never get found because he has no content, no keywords to speak of. There's nothing of interest to keep somebody's eye on his profile. So he'll never get an interview. He'll never get the call. He'll never get an interview. He'll never get a job. But a little truth in advertising about old Marco here. Let's look at this guy. He had a job at this company for 2.5 years as an associate product manager. And he went to this company for 1.5 years, and he was a product manager. Then he got another promotion, he moved up at another company. For 4 years, he was a senior product manager, then got another promotion. It got to vice president of marketing. Then he got another promotion in 2 years, and he's a global marketing vice president. This guy, he's terrific. Unfortunately, he'd never get found by recruiters. But so let's look at the guy who's page 1, number 1. He worked for a company called Corjensen. Okay, we'll get back to that in a little bit. But he has a very full about section. He has his email address, so contact information in it. There are things I would change and adjust on this, but we won't get into that. He used, back when this was a 2,000 character limit, he used 1,883 characters of the available 2,000. He has lots of content. So this was increased recently. So let's go down into his experience section. So he has paragraphs that talk about what he did. He has bullet points of what he did. I would like to see smaller bullet points, words or phrases instead of sentences. But he also has uploaded media. The one on the left-hand side is something from YouTube. Then I think this is an actress of some sort. I don't know what it's all about. Go further, he has a white paper from when he worked for Colgate-Palmolive, and he was in charge of the Palmolive relaunch. So I guess when Madge for Dishes died, they had to relaunch the Palmolive, whatever. All right. So remember I said he worked for Core Jensen? Well, this guy, he had his profile read. He was found. He was contacted. He was interviewed. He has a new job at Philips. You think this can work for you? All right. How do I get to page 1? Okay. Well, words to work. That's what I call this, because you need to have the right words in the right quantity in the right location if you want to get found. So we'll take job descriptions and try to weigh the algorithm in our favor so that you position yourself to get found when a recruiter does a search. That's how it is, really, really simply and basic. So first we have to understand the algorithm, the LinkedIn algorithm, and how it affects, how you can affect it. And notice I didn't say Al Gore rhythm. I said algorithm, boom, boom. All right. So here's some of the algorithmic factors. The headline is the heaviest weight in the LinkedIn algorithm. So you want to have title and keywords about that in the headline. So what you want to get found for. Where all the keywords are placed in your profile makes a difference with different weighting, with the things at the top having more weight. Believe it or not, the recommendations you give and the recommendations that you receive are read by the computer's eyes. They might not be read by the recruiter, but they are read by the computer, so it helps to get you up there. Even the endorsement section, even those horrible endorsements, oops, I didn't say that out loud. It carries very small weight, but it still is some weight. The names of the groups that you're in are also searched by the computer. Your activity, you're affected by the social selling index, which will help push you up as well. LinkedIn Premium has an effect on the algorithm, which we all hate, right? But we all have to buy it. And then you also want objects of interest in your profile so that you're keeping the human eye on you as opposed to going somewhere else for as long as you can. So the headline, if you're using your computer you use your device, it's more than 120 characters in many cases, but it's the heaviest weight. And your title is going to be a lot fewer than 120 characters. Excuse me. The about section, it's moved up to 2,600 from 2,000 earlier in the year. Then each position that you have, in my case, it's going back to when the Dead Sea only had the sniffles. There are 2,000 characters for each of those positions that you've had. All of them carry weight. You want to use as many of these as possible. Now, a warning about words to work. It's a royal PETA, if you know what I mean. It's a pain to get there, but it's worth it. So I want you to start off finding at least 3 jobs, and I want you to look nationally. I don't want to move. I don't want to move. I don't care if you want to move or not. We're looking for words so that you can get found for work. And you have to understand that 4/5 of the jobs are never posted, and job titles, job descriptions are pretty much the same throughout the country. So let's do a search, a mock search. I'm going to look for a supply chain director. And when I first did this years ago, I was only connected to 1,640 supply chain directors. Now it's over 20,000, so large thing. Okay, so I'm going to look for a supply chain director job, and I'm looking nationally, and I found 665 of them. Holy mackerel, that's a lot of jobs. All right, so how about if we narrow the search a little bit? So I did a better search. This one is and manufacturing, and this is a mock-up of the very first client I had, who was a supply chain director, and he was in the paper manufacturing business. So I used that. So I went from 600 down to 196 jobs real quickly. Now is when the fun starts. Remember the PETA part? You need to start reading job descriptions. So is this job perfect for you? Well, I could probably do it. No, is this a perfect job? Well, it wouldn't be that bad. No, is this perfect? No, it's not. Okay, well, you have 195 other ones that you can go to. Is this job perfect for you? Oh, baby, if this was here locally, I'd be on it like white on rice. Okay, so let's take the stuff that's in the middle. The stuff that's at the top is usually just fluff about the company. The stuff at the bottom is usually just EEOC regs. So let's take the stuff in the middle. Oh, and if you find acronyms, let's set those aside for a minute and come back to them later. Because what I want you to do is copy the stuff in the middle and paste it for all those jobs into one Word or Pages document. And it's going to look like alphabet soup. So then you copy all those job descriptions that you have in a jumble, go to a word cloud generator. I personally hate word clouds. I use something else. So you paste it where they tell you to, click generate, and voila, you have a word cloud. And again, the fun starts. So you take a highlighter and you go through every stinking line of this word cloud, and you mark the most important words that should help you get found, or the words that you want to get found for. And you want to have at least 10 of them. And you add back in the acronyms, and you'll use those keywords over and over. Now, this is where you need to start rewriting your profile, adding your title multiple times, adding your keywords multiple times. And you don't want to do this, keyword stuffing. This is the profile that I just typed in social media, and I came up with this guy a few years ago. And I knew immediately that this person had hired a coach who sold this idea where they would keyword stuff. And at the end of every one of this person's or her clients' the employment, they go over and over and over with the same keywords. And what would you do if you were a recruiter and you saw this? You'd probably say, if he's gaming this system now, he's going to game the system later. So this fellow lost money, he spent money, and he didn't get anything for it. There you go. Now, this is where when you find your keywords and you load them, this is where most everybody stops. This is not where I think you should stop. I think you should do research on your competition. What do they got that I ain't got? So when I did this search, supply chain director, I'm connected to over 20,000 supply chain directors now. So how about if we do a search for a typical supply chain director and plant operations, process improvement, quality assurance, and Six Sigma. Okay, well, I got 26 people. So think of this. This is how a recruiter does a search. I went from 20,000 people to 26 people this quickly. And that's what a recruiter is looking to do and start calling. Again, title, 3 to 5 keywords, 25 people get a call, 10 people get face-to-face, 3 people get final face-to-face, 1 person gets hired. But how about if we do a deep dive into your competitors as well? When I did this for my client, Marvin, many years ago, this guy, Steve, came up page 1 all the time, page 1, position 1 all the time. And as you can tell by looking at Steve's photograph, he must be a genius. He's got his tongue hanging out of his mouth in his LinkedIn photograph. He must be a genius. So Marvin, take a look at the genius's profile and tell me why he's on page 1, position 1. Hey, wait a second. Marvin says, I'm better than him. Why is he on page 1? I don't know. Let's look. Let's do a search. So I searched his profile. I did a search for supply chain. And how many times did Steve have supply chain in his profile? 34 times. How many times do you think Marvin needs supply chain in his to out SEO Steve? All right. In conclusion, you can do this yourself, but it's exceptionally hard. Why? Well, you can't search for yourself. Alex and I have done this exercise a number of times. We're first level connections. When I search for Alex, I can't find him. I can't find him. I can't find him. I can't find him. Then I drop him as a first level connection, refresh, and do another search, and bingo, he's on page 1 or page 2 every time. Why? Because it affects our level. It affects the algorithm. All right, so you can't search for yourself. Well, you could use somebody else's profile, but that person can't be a first level connection for the same reason that Alex and I could or couldn't find each other. Also, you have to swim in a deep pool. So you need to, if you're going to use somebody else's profile, they have to have an enormous network of connections, or else you're skewing the results in your favor because you're connected to so few people. All right. Now, even if you can't do these things and you go through the process you're on your own, your positioning is going to be better, but it's just a guess on where you end up. So all of my clients, every single one of my clients is on page one. Somewhere on page one, we work until we get there. So I personally hate word clouds, so I use a different tool. I buy a tool that gives me a spreadsheet. And when I get a whole bunch of words, I chop it down to 50 to 75, send it to the client. They give me back the number I'm looking for. Then I look for competition, good competition for them, and do an analysis of their profile versus their competition and give them keyword goals. So when I do this, I'm looking for them to out SEO their competition as much as possible. And if there's a large discrepancy between what they have in their current profile and what the goal is, I'll tell them to look at one of their competitors to see how they got it in so many times. In addition, I give them links to a number of my successful clients so that they can see what a good profile looks like, something to emulate. So then they need to rewrite their profile one part at a time. And I suggest that you do it in a Word document, open up a whole file and do separate documents and copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste all at once, because there's something that I call LinkedIn limbo. The spiders in the background take time to work all this through. So if you copy and paste, do it one section at a time, you lessen your LinkedIn limbo. So when my clients are done with this, I want to make sure that they're on page one. So I do searches, and most of the folks take this very seriously. Unfortunately, let me refresh. Recruiters use your job title and 3 to 5 keywords. I want to make it more difficult for me to find you, so I only use your job title and 1 or 2 keywords. All right. So again, most of these people take it seriously. I want to make sure you're on page one. Keith here didn't take it seriously. And I kept searching and kept searching and kept searching. I didn't find him until page 9, position 8, and I kind of read him the riot act. So he got serious and he tweaked his profile, trying to do what I asked him to do. The second time I searched for him, he was on page 2, position 3, out of 67,000 people who are global marketing VEPs, executives. So we still tweaked a little bit more. And I searched for his job, Chief Marketing Officer, and the word global. He's on page 1, position 1, out of 24,000 people. Then I did Chief Marketing Officer and branding. He's page 1, creative, page 1, integrated, page 1, strategist, page 1, medical, healthcare, page 1, medical, page 1. So I want you to be on page 1. A little bit of shameless commerce division, I can be hired or I can be rented. But I think it's only fair to share with you other people, very much including Alex, that I think are very good. The people at the bottom, Bob, Alex, and Lauren, are in the New York, New Jersey area. Bob is on Manhattan. I'm sorry, he's on Long Island. Alex, of course, is in Princeton, and Lauren is in the Philadelphia area. Diane, Richard, and John are in the Atlanta area. And if you want referrals, I'll be happy to give them to you. If you want me, that's fine too. If you want nobody, that's fine. But in job search, I want you to keep in mind that there's always someone with it worse off than you. And I love this line: and those who were seen dancing were thought insane by those who could not hear the music. And I want you to listen to the music because it's playing all around you all the time. And the only thing that keeps you from realizing your goals are the doubts that you have. So why do I have this? Oh, this is just nonsense. If you're interested, you can get my book either through Amazon or through me, whether it be electronic or a paperback soft cover. All right, so I went through that a little bit quicker than normal, but how about if we do some searches? And I'll have to rely on Alex. Let's I'm going to change this here real quick. Go to whoops, stop share screen. And I'm going to do this and go to LinkedIn. And what I'm going to do is do searches by job title, keyword, and then I'll look for your name. And we'll do as many of these as we can. So I'll leave this up to Alex to feed me the information. I type slowly, so be patient.
Okay, Al, we haven't done this for so long. And out of selfishness and self-curiosity, let's do this.
Okay.
Try to find words on my LinkedIn profile. We are connected first level now.
Yes.
Try to do it and then drop me.
Okay.
And let's see, look at this video interview practice, career counseling, whatever I have in my tagline there,
Okay.
any of those. And let's see if I come up, and then drop me and let's see if it works.
Video interview practice. So I have video interview practice, all lowercase in quotation marks.
Yep.
And I'm going to add career counseling. Okay, and I'm going to look for people. And when I do this, I generally look for 5 pages. There are 3 people. That's odd. So let's take some of this out. A whopping 7 people and no Alex. So let's do career counselor and interview.
Why do you do them combined and not independent individuals?
I can.
I'm asking, is there a reason you want to do 2 at the same time?
You mean having 2 LinkedIn's open? 2 tabs open?
No, you have like career counseling and interview. Why did you put the and there?
Oh, because I wanted to narrow the search a bit. So I can take that out. So
okay, whatever. I'm just asking why.
So let's look to see if we can find Alex. He's not on page 1.
Oh.
He's not on page 2. Not on page 3. And is yours interview or interviewing?
Interviewing, I think.
Let's add the ing. So it's going to be, wow, 75,000 and interviewing. Okay, so we're not on page 1. Not on page 2. Not on page 3.
Yeah, nobody moves beyond page 3.
Yeah, and I just typically look at 5 pages just for kicks and giggles. So I'm now going to drop Alex as a first level connection. More. Remove connection. Oh, by the way, when we do this, we lose the recommendations we gave to each other. Okay, so let's try again. I'm going to look, where am I? I'm going to go back to page 1. And hopefully this still is fast that you do automatically. I think I refreshed. It'll be mud on our face, right? If we don't find it.
You remember last time we did it, I was up there, page 1.
Yeah. And, you got to wonder whether LinkedIn is just plain slow. So okay, it didn't drop as. Okay.
But okay.
So let's, who knows? It might not have picked up. Maybe it did. That's what you get with live live
Yeah.
searches. Let's see if we can go a little bit further. But let's do this. Okay, so career counseling and video, we can do add a term. And I have a feeling that the spiders are not working.
No, I have the feeling too.
Yeah.
You know, I recently added the word video because I thought this is something that in coronavirus era, people would be looking for video, but evidently I made a mistake. I should not have done that.
Well, you might want to put it later in your headline. But how long ago did you do that?
A month ago.
Okay. So I've found that the spiders take at least two days to work their magic. So how about we do some searching for somebody else?
Okay, you want me to select somebody?
Sure, just randomly.
Yeah, just 1 second. You know who I want to see if I can help. Just 1 second. Where is it? Okay, Juliet Brown.
Okay, let me write that down.
Juliet, can you unmute yourself because Al is going to ask
Yes,
you about.
Alex.
Okay.
Hi. I was saying, please don't pick me.
Okay, Juliet, I didn't pick you. That's your clone. It's not you. It's somebody else. Al, what do you want to know about
Wait,
Juliet?
I have to move. My connection is unstable, so I'm walking and talking.
Okay, so we'll need your job title.
Okay. Project manager.
And a couple of terms. Are you PMP?
Right. PMP. Planning. Stakeholder management. Team leader. I'm just throwing it out off the top of my head.
Okay. I'm gonna let's see what we have here. That's 1, 2, 3, and your title. So let's see if we can find you. Then we're going to look at your profile to see if we have all those keywords. Okay, so let's go switch and go to your name. Juliet, or is there TTE?
Yes, it says C. Juliet Brown. I'm the third one down.
Okay. All right, so we're project manager. And let's see what else we had in here. PMP, you have that. Whoops. You have more here. Planning stakeholder. Okay, so I'm not seeing planning in your headline, and I'm not seeing stakeholder. So let's take those out of your search since you don't have them.
Okay. You have to have the exact words. Yes, Al?
Yes.
Okay.
So take some words that a recruiter would use to find somebody like you.
Okay. So I have planning, communication, and I would say leadership. They tend to use those words a lot.
Okay, let's do that search. So 161,000 of you.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So let's change this to location. And you're in the greater New York area?
Yes.
New York City metro area. I'm going to apply that. We'll go from 161 to 5,700. Okay, so you're not in the first 5 pages when I do that
Right.
search. So let's look at your profile. All right, so the first thing that I would suggest that you do is get rid of this. People also viewed. Why? Let me show you. When a recruiter does a search, I'm going to click on settings and privacy. I'm going to go to this crazy page, which I hate. I'm looking for viewers of this profile also viewed. All right, doggone it. That's not it. Viewers of this profile also viewed. So you want to get rid of that. And the reason for it is when a recruiter finds your page, they can click on any of these people. Let's see. This person's interesting. Let me go to Bradford's profile, and sometimes they won't come back to you. So you want to make sure that you turn this from yes to no. So let's go back to your profile.
From yes to no? Oh,
Pardon?
you can't do that. I didn't give you, you don't have access.
No, you have to do it.
I know. Yeah,
Which is why I went to my profile.
okay.
Okay. So
Can you do it slower, please?
sure.
Yes, Al, because you do move very fast.
Okay. So you're clicking on settings and privacy. You go to
Sync
syncing.
options?
Pardon me?
Sync options?
Yeah, it looks like that's where it is. No, it's above sync options. So it's site preferences. And you go to viewers of this profile also viewed. Slide that from yes to no. Bingo, it's done. It's out of there forever.
Okay, great.
Okay. So when I look at your about section, I like that you have quite a bit of content, but I would also like you to have core competencies in bullet point form, where there would be single words or phrases, which will allow you to double or more the keywords that you want to get found for that are going to be used often in searches. When you go
Al,
further,
can you share with us how that should look like looking at my profile versus your profile,
okay, let's.
so that we can see how we should place the core competencies in the about section?
Actually, I'll show you somebody else's. Well, I'll go to mine. View profile, and I have to admit that it's always the plumber who has the leaky faucet. So here's how some of that could look.
Okay.
But you need to do it in a Word document or a Pages document and copy and paste the bullet points. I hate whoever has those green check marks that they're using. To me, they're ugly. Let's go back to you. Now you have 2,000 characters available to you, and you're not using many of them. And in any of these or all of them, you can add those same keywords that you were using, that we're wanting to use before. So you're going to attract them. You want to try to give and receive more recommendations, because the computer searches through the recommendations for that. So your profile is probably better than the average bear, but there's room for improvement. So,
Well, thank you.
you're welcome. Anybody want to go next?
Yeah, how about Daniel Gerard?
I'm here.
With a G?
Gerard.
Okay, so let's search for your job title. Daniel?
Yep. See, IT.
Aha, I'm glad you said IT.
Yep.
A recruiter can't search for IT. Now they can have it in a job description, but they can't search that way. Why? Because look at my last name, SMITH. So we want to put information technology.
Or software.
Okay, let's start with software. What else do we want?
Sourcing. And procurement.
Okay. And let's check the location. It's everywhere. Let's change that to New York. And you are in the New York area?
That is correct.
Okay. So one from 165 to 5,800. And
There you go.
there you go. Good. Let's take a look at your profile. So we have software, we have sourcing, and whatever else we had in that search. Let's take a look further. Now you look how you have your strengths. You're using all these keywords, which is great. You have used the
It's only
keywords.
because I listened to Alex.
Good. You done good. So
When
adding
Alex
those
speaks, I listen.
that's a good thing. Now you could add more content
Okay.
if you want to get even higher up there, but you're in pretty darn good shape. I would. Okay, so this is people you may know, which is different.
I just changed. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's different. This is a different thing.
Do I turn that off too?
No, I don't. As a matter of fact, I don't think you can turn it off.
Let's figure a way to do it.
Who are these bums? Why do you keep following? All right.
Dirtballs.
So congratulations. You're in pretty darn good shape.
Thank you.
I'm in great shape too. Round is a good shape.
Now you go back to that comment you made, Alfred or Al, about IT.
Yeah.
Should I change the information technology?
I
Or
would suggest changing that to information technology.
you got it. Consider it done.
And you can actually put in parentheses after it IT. I have a client, former client. Let me go to Jeff's. When you look at his about section, he has chief financial officer and CFO, who has built a reputation, blah, 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 blah. Then he also at the end, driving factors to my success as chief financial officer. Throughout my career as chief financial officer, he highlights as chief financial
How many times
officer.
do I need CFO? How many times do you do it? Just should be once, no?
Well, you don't want to keyword overload like that person wanted to do, but using those terms over helps the algorithm. But you want to do it in normal conversation. So, and there's something of interest for Jeff. So there you have it.
Okay. So go back to my profile, you'll see I've changed it. Refresh.
There you go. Quick fingers.
Yeah, I got two screens here.
Perfect. Shall we try someone else?
I like to pick on my friends. How about Marty Latman?
Oh, I'm not your friend?
No, you are, but
I'm a
we
dirtball. It's okay. I
Wait.
understand, Alfred. Alex,
we already picked on you. Now we need to pick other people.
I'm just teasing.
You can pick
I
your
know, I know.
friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose.
Marty, are you willing to position yourself as a victim? We cannot hear you.
You can give it a shot. Go ahead.
Okay, so what job title are we looking for?
CFO,
Okay,
career coaching.
I was gonna start dancing. Okay, so let's look for you. And let's make sure we're in, that's good enough. Let's see. And it's Marty?
Yep, you can do Martin.
So do you have it Andrew Martin or do you have it Marty?
Marty.
Okay. And I hope this is you feel that this is a good exercise to go through. All of you. All right, so let's look at your profile. And your last name is Marty?
No, put Martin, Martin,
Okay.
Latman. There you go.
Here we go. Okay. So we have this. We had put career coaching as opposed to career coach. And that makes a difference. I do a workshop where an example of how squirrely this can be with a guy on it. His name is Charlie Brown. I'm not kidding. He lives in Woodstock, you know, the bird. I'm not kidding. And he has a cat named Snoopy. I'm not kidding. So Charlie is a scrum master. And when I first heard that term, I had no idea what a scrum master was. And I had no idea how to spell it. So I spelled it, did a search spelling it the way I thought it was spelled, SCRUM space MASTER. And I couldn't find Charlie. I was connected to 13,000 scrum masters, couldn't find Charlie with a pack of dogs. Looked at his profile and he spelled it SCRUM capital MASTER, no space. And I checked that out. I was connected to 1,500 scrum masters and there Charlie was. So I asked him, or I said, every place that you have scrum master, I want you to put in parentheses or scrum master spelled the other way. And he went from every place in his profile that he had. And he went, by making that one change throughout his profile, he went from, you couldn't find him in 13,000 people to being on the middle of page 2. That one change, and that's it. All right, so if I'm looking for coaching, let me change this to coach and see if that helps us. Oh, and by the way, the LinkedIn plays with the algorithm all the time. So we went from, we couldn't find you in 5 pages to page 3, position 1. So have that ing made a difference.
Interesting.
So if you want to have coaching and coach, you have to use both those words.
Yeah.
So it's amazing, isn't it? Just that one little thing made a difference.
No problem.
Yeah.
How do you get rid of, go back to my first lead page, you'll see, how do I get rid of somebody who put me in fictitiously?
Let's see, where were we? Oh, on yours?
Yeah, you see people also viewed?
Oh, yeah. So you do that the same way. You go.
No, but I'm saying that if you notice over there's Marty Latin. That's not me.
Oh, ha.
Somebody fictitiously put that in there.
Yeah, interesting because a bunch of years ago, I was sent a connection request by a female military Army general, and I always look at their profiles before I connect with anybody, and I kind of the hair on the back of your neck kind of stood up a little bit because the person didn't have many connections, but she's in the military, so I connected. Now, I know that I am ruggedly handsome and have rapier wit, and every females flock to me. Wake up. So 2 days later, I get an in-mail or a note from this general saying that she's traveling the world and she's lonely. It's like, ugh! And I can't get rid of the person quickly enough. I was irritated at myself when I did that, but I remembered her name. So I found her and then looked to find that there was another older female general in the Army that had that same name. So I sent a note to LinkedIn customer disservice and the real general saying that it appears that somebody's stolen your identity. So I would suggest that you contact customer service and say, look at this. This is not a
We
real.
got it. Thanks a lot.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
You bet. Anybody else want to have be searched?
Yes.
Okay. We'll start with your job title.
Product owner.
And?
Agile. Scrum.
One more.
Cross-functional with a dash between
Got
the
it.
two words.
I guess teams or leader or what? You wanna-
Team.
All right, so let's look. And and you're in the New York area as well?
Atlanta.
Oh, okay. So 1,200 of you, and I didn't catch your name.
Tom Anderson. Not looking good so far.
That is not out of the ordinary, as you can tell already. Here's a former client. We'll go again.
Tom, I mean, Al, I'm surprised you don't know Tom. I thought you know everybody in Atlanta.
So actually, all of you, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, Roswell United Methodist has one of their virtual job networking events. And it starts at 10, although I don't really think anybody should go to the 10. I didn't say that out loud. Go to that. But from 10 until 6 p.m., there are workshops, except for the lunch hour, various things. So, okay, so let's go look for you.
That's me, the first one there.
Okay. Aha. Here's something I think you should change. I think you should put spaces between the E, the slash, and the S.
Okay.
I think it's reading as one word.
Okay.
And of course you want to turn, no, that's off. I'm sorry. You have lots of content, which is very good. I would use your job title a bit more.
Okay.
And often. So here's one of the things that might happen. Your current job is enterprise architect, and you could put product owner next to enterprise architect, and you'd probably end up getting found and put, this is what you want to get found for. This is what your job title actually is at Capgemini.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Are you ready for the next one?
Sure.
I like to pick on my friends. How about Ken Sher? Ken, are you still here with us? Oh, here, I see, I found you. Ken, you forgive me that I'm picking on you, right? You have to unmute yourself.
Appreciate it very much, Alex. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll see how I do, though. Career coach is what I would start with.
Coaching or coach?
Coach, I think. Executive coach. What else do I have there? Job search. I put job search and leadership development. Why don't we stop with that?
You can tell I'm not an administrative assistant. you are located.
Philadelphia.
We're not first level connections, are we?
No, I don't believe so.
We'll find out soon. Okay, so let's go do this. Get rid of all this stuff.
No, we are not first connections. We will be though.
There you go. Okay, so what do we do? Executive. I didn't put executive coach, did I? Let's try it again.
Yeah, it's interesting now as you're doing this because I think I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I try to post something every day.
Mm-hmm.
Thought my keywords were good too, but this is interesting.
You might have missed a quotation mark. I'd go back and look at what you wrote. I think there's a quotation mark missing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I think after job coach, you didn't put the quotation mark
Okay,
in the
career.
earlier one. Okay.
Let's keep looking. Ah, that could make a difference. Job search.
Sure, hope so.
Only 4 people and you're not there. That's weird.
LinkedIn works in mysterious ways sometimes.
It does. Okay, so this was job what? Job search. So you have job search there. That's very odd. You just wonder what the heck. Notice how nice I was for not using hell.
You know, one thing Al, I think is a great point is probably listing out my some of the competencies or keywords in my about section. I'm just going to do that.
Let's try Greater Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's how I always.
Yeah, I there you are.
All right, I do exist.
Yeah. So it's kind of odd that it had both Philadelphia and then Greater Philadelphia. That's the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, because it
So-
actually was suggested that I go to Greater Philadelphia.
Yeah, and I suggest that for everybody. You know, here in the Atlanta area, I joke. I ask people, where are you from? They'd say Lawrenceville, and I say no, you're from Atlanta, because recruiters, or Atlanta Metro, because recruiters, they all know where they can be from anywhere in the world, and they all know where Atlanta is. They don't know where the town of Ball Ground is.
Al, if I could ask a quick question, I know we want to get to someone else, but so you've been, this is great, I think, too, walking us through it. And we've been playing around with the words in the search bar, but that's us playing around with it, I guess. So all the other suggestions you're making with competencies, keywords, and all will allow for the recruiter, for example, to find us without having, like, we want them to find us easily. And this is a little more work than they would do, right?
Yeah, well, no, actually, this is a search typical of what a recruiter would do. They put in the job title that they have open. They add 3, 4, 5 keywords to that search, and those were the qualities that they're looking for in that job title.
Mm-hmm.
And they would get however many they get, and everybody, the first 3 pages are the people that they're going to look at. They're not going to go beyond that.
All right. Thank you for doing that. Thanks, Alex, for volunteering.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Al, how about if we do one more and then we say that's it?
Okay.
Okay, I see Nancy Aronson on my screen, and I always like her when she smiles at me. And Nancy, do you mind if we pick you next?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So let's start with your job title.
I guess, well, either software developer or software engineer. I guess you could say developer.
What else do we want to look for? Well, we want to add engineer.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, because it's either or, I guess.
Okay, so engineer should be in there somewhere. What else do we want to add to the search?
Take something from your tagline.
I'm almost, yeah. Hold on, let me look at my tagline.
Yeah, and we are skewing this a bit, but that's on purpose. We want to find you. We hope that those words are ones that recruiters would use.
Put SQL.
Okay.
And you could put in QA.
Okay. Let's try that. And where are you? Where are you located? Are you in
No, she's not in Philadelphia. She's in Greater New York, right, Nancy?
Jersey, New Jersey.
Okay. Great. Great.
I'm a little confused about what I want to be, so.
New York Metro?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
That's
I
not
think-
good.
I think we're first level connections.
We are, Al.
Okay, so let's search, see if we can find you, and go
And
through
then-
this again.
And then drop and then
And
see.
drop. It's not you, it's me.
Well, it's good. I also learned though that if you are connected to somebody and you've, not referred, if you've done a recommendation, you lose that, which I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, the recruiters, they'll spend like $1,000 a month for the recruiter package, and they're not affected by the first levels. They'll search everybody. All right, so I'm going to refresh that. I didn't find you in the first 5 pages. I'm going to go back up here and refresh this. Go back to page 1. And let's see if we can't find you. All right, so let's look at your profile. So we did have software developer, and we have engineering as opposed to engineer,
Right.
which would obviously make a difference. We have SQL in there, or SQL, and the QA, we have QA. So I'm guessing that it's the engineering.
Right. What if you were to take that out, or if it was or?
Well, this actually had engineering. And again, I'm wondering whether me dropping you, it used to be instantaneous. I could find somebody, but there's a chance that the spiders are
Right, it takes
biting.
time to crawl.
There you are. So we went from we couldn't find you in 5 pages to you making it to the 5th page.
Barely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least you have shown that a very small change between engineer and engineering that makes a whole difference.
Yes.
And you have to play with it until it gets there.
So
Okay, why don't we end it here? Al, thank you so much.
Oh,
It
you're
was very
welcome.
educational. I know what I need to do. I need to play a little more with Weimar to be found. And I guess everybody else needs to do the same thing.
I have a question. I had to step away to deal with my child in their school. Are the slides going to be available or?
No, Scott, I'm recording this. I'm going to edit it because I will cut out the beginning, or I'll see what it is. I will upload it to YouTube, and then I will send out a link to everybody that signed up.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
excellent.
Okay,
Very good
people, have a
presentation.
wonderful evening, have a wonderful day, and thanks for participation.
Everybody be safe, wear a mask. It's not a political statement.
Yep.
It's a health
Thank you
thing.
very
Okay.
much.
Take
care.
care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.